Gloria Hayes's scream echoed through the third floor of Cascade Ridge Mall, causing hundreds of people to turn their heads. The coffee cup in her hand fell to the floor. The plastic lid broke. Hot coffee spilled onto the floor. Her autistic son was missing. Wren, Wren. Her voice echoed everywhere. Her hands were shaking with fear. 30 seconds earlier, her 7-year-old son had been right beside her. He had been standing in front of the toy store window. His eyes were fixed on the glass surface. His lips were moving, but he wasn't making a sound. He was humming that little tune. He would constantly hum the same 4 notes. Gloria's phone rang. She looked at her phone for just 10 seconds. Only 10 seconds. Wren was gone. Marcus Vega rushed to the security room. The screens were searching for Wren. 12 monitors and 24 cameras were looking for her. There were hundreds of people inside the mall, but the little girl was nowhere to be seen. How is that possible? How could she disappear? There are cameras here. Marcus touched the screen. He reviewed the recording. Wren appeared in the footage for a moment. Then he was gone. He had vanished like vapor. There are places the cameras can't see, stairwells, service corridors, and no cameras on the lower floors. Officer Dalton Pierce had already grabbed Halo's leash when he got the call. He had been working in the K-9 unit for 6 years. He had done hundreds of search missions. But this time was different. The child doesn't speak because he has autism. He is afraid of crowds. He is hypersensitive to sounds. Dalton knelt down. He stroked Halo's head. The dog's eyes focused on him. This mission is different, Halo. It is not a normal search. The child might be hiding, might not want help, might not respond even if he hears us. Gloria held out Wren's sweatshirt. It was small, blue, with a dinosaur print. Halo pressed his nose against the fabric. He took a deep breath. Then he lifted his head. There was no scent. Dalton frowned. Halo tried again. He lifted his head again. My tail was still. He wasn't reacting. Gloria's face turned pale. Dalton stood up. He took Halo's leash. They went up to the 3rd floor. They came to the toy store. The spot where Gloria had spilled her coffee was still wet. Gloria said, "He got lost here." She was crying. She was worried. Halo bent down. He rubbed his nose on the ground. He turned to the left. He turned to the right. There was nothing. Then he stopped. He pricked up his ears, Dalton noticed. "What did you hear?" Halo tilted his head slightly to the side. He moved his ears. His eyes focused, and then a very faint sound could be heard. It was almost inaudible. It was a very noisy environment with people talking, music, announcements, and footsteps. But a small melody could be heard. 4 notes repeating. Halo took a step forward. "What is he doing?" Marcus asked. Dalton raised his hand. "Shut up and listen." The melody was heard again, this time from further away and weaker. Halo started running. "The dog crossed the security barrier," Marcus shouted. "That is a restricted area. No unauthorized personnel allowed." But Dalton was already behind him. "He is leading us somewhere." Gloria ran after them. Halo entered a narrow corridor. Neon lights flickered. Cold air hit their faces. Then he came to a metal staircase. He was going down to the lower level. The melody was now clearer. Halo descended the stairs. He moved quickly. He stopped and listened at every step. Then he came to a door. Mechanical room, unauthorized entry prohibited. The sound coming from behind the door was terrifying. Machines were roaring. Metal was creaking. Ventilation fans were spinning. And beneath the melody there was another sound. A child's whimpering could be heard. Gloria's heart stopped. When Dalton opened the door, a wave of sound engulfed them. The rumbling of the machines, the whirring of the fans, the clanging of metal. It all came at once. Gloria covered her ears with her hands. The room was dark. The only light came from the red emergency light on the ceiling. Large, gray machines rose up from all sides. Pipes, valves, and screens were everywhere. At the far end of the room, between 2 large air conditioning units, Wren sat on the floor. Crouching on the floor, she had pulled her knees up to her chest. She was crying. Her hands were over her ears. She was pressing down hard. Her head was bowed. Her body was rocking back and forth. Her lips were still moving. She was humming the melody, but no sound was coming out. Only her lips were moving. Gloria lunged forward. "No, don't go near him." Dalton grabbed her arm. Gloria turned. Tears streamed down her face. "He is my son, I know, but he is having a sensory crisis right now. If you touch him, it will make it worse. If you yell, he'll panic. If he moves, he could hit the machines." Gloria's tears streamed down her cheeks. Marcus stepped forward. "I'll call security. We need to shut down the machines." "Security will be too late. The child is already at the shutdown point." Dalton looked at Halo. The dog was already moving. He advanced slowly. His footsteps were silent. His head was down. His tail wasn't wagging. There was no threat. He was just quietly approaching Wren. Wren lifted her head slightly. Her eyes were closed. Her hands were still over her ears, but she had heard Halo. The dog took 2 more steps. Then he stopped. Slowly, he lay down next to Wren. He rested his body against the child's legs. He placed his head on Wren's knee. He breathed. Calm, deep breaths. His chest rose and fell. He was breathing regularly and rhythmically. Wren's hands trembled. Then slowly, one hand lifted from her ears. She touched Halo's head. Her fingers disappeared into the dog's fur. Her hands were among the warm, soft, and lively fur. Wren's breathing steadied. Her body was no longer shaking. Her eyes opened. Gloria knelt down. Her hands covered her mouth. The tears wouldn't stop. Wren wrapped herself in Halo's fur. She rested her head on the dog's back, and she hummed the melody again. But this time it was different, softer and calmer. Halo didn't move. He just lay there. 5 minutes passed. Then Wren lifted her head. She looked at Gloria, and with a small movement she reached out her hand. Gloria crawled forward. She took her son in her arms. Halo was still between them. The 3 of them sat together. Dalton stroked Halo's head. 20 minutes later, Wren was still with Halo, but they were no longer in the mechanical room. They had gone up to the mall's security office. The sound of the machines was behind them. Only a faint hum of the air conditioning filled the room. Wren sat on the floor. Halo had laid his head in the child's lap. Wren's hand stroked the dog's ears. Gloria stood a few steps away. Her eyes were smiling now. "How did you know where he was?" she asked. Dalton crouched down next to Halo. He stroked the dog's back. "Halo isn't a standard search dog. 6 years ago, she was assigned to a different case. An elderly man with Alzheimer's had gone missing. He wasn't talking. We couldn't pick up his scent, but the man kept singing the same song. He was singing an old song. Halo followed that song. So the dog heard the melody. Yes, Wren was humming that melody, repeating it. Halo learned it. He started in front of the toy store. He followed every repetition down the hallway, the stairs, the door. He followed the melody. Gloria started crying again, but this time she was crying out of happiness. "Thank you." 2 hours later, as Gloria and Wren walked to their car, Dalton and Halo were waiting for them at the door. Wren turned. She looked at Halo. Then she touched Gloria. She gently pulled her mother's arm. Gloria knelt down. "What is it, sweetheart?" Wren didn't speak, but she raised her hand. She made a small gesture toward Halo. Gloria understood. Wren walked over to Halo. She held the dog's head with both hands. She rested her forehead against the dog's forehead. They stayed like that for 3 seconds. Then Wren stepped back. She took her mother's hand and they walked to the car. Dalton was holding Halo's leash. The dog's tail was wagging slowly. "You know, don't you? You are not just a dog. You are a hero." Halo lifted his head. He looked at Dalton. And then, as if he understood, his tail wagged faster. Sometimes words aren't enough. Sometimes the strongest bonds are formed in silence. Wren couldn't speak, but he was heard because Halo listened, not just with his ears, but with his heart. If this story made you feel something, please don't forget to like it, because every like makes the next story possible. And tell us in the comments, what do you think was Halo's most memorable moment? Subscribe, because next week, another hero, another life awaits you.